The currency of survival. At 16, my currency wasn't money. It was my body. It was a place to sleep, a line of coke, a moment of not feeling completely alone. I was a kid, but on the streets, your age doesn't matter. Your survival does. This is the story of how I learned to pay a price I never agreed to, just to see another sunrise. People hear homeless and they feel pity. They don't understand that sometimes the streets are safer than home. My mom and I, we're like fire and gasoline. She's bipolar. I have borderline personality disorder. We clash until we explode. The final straw was rehab. I came back, I relapsed, and my mom said, "You're out." I was 16. I thought I was hitting rock bottom, but in a way, I was just escaping one prison for another. I was already addicted before I ever met him. Weed at 12, acid and coke by 14. So when a 25-year-old man saw a 15-year-old girl strung out and alone, he didn't see a child. He saw an opportunity. He told me he loved me. He said he wanted my children. He housed me, he fed my addiction. I thought it was a good situation because I had a roof over my head. I didn't see it as being trapped. I saw it as being cared for. But the choice to go with him was the last choice I'd get to make. When I wanted to leave, it wasn't a choice anymore. He held a gun to my head. He did all the classic pimp things, the I love yous mixed with the threats. He was well aware I was a minor. He didn't care. I was scared of him, but I was also scared of being on the streets. I was trapped in a world where survival was the only currency that mattered. I escaped after 2 months. What gave me the strength was my stepdad. He passed away about a year ago, and every time that man hurt me, I would pray to him. The fact that I'm still here, I think he's the reason I got out. But freedom isn't free. Now, I'm truly alone. I can't go to a shelter. They ask if I've been abused, and if I say yes, they make me report it to the police. I can't do that. If he finds out I told, he'll kill me. I know he will. So I'm here, at the library, because my phone broke a week ago, and it's the only way I can text people, try to find a place to sleep. I'm 4 feet 11 inches, 16 years old, and I'm hiding from the police, from my mom, and from the man who used to own me. It's a constant game of cat and mouse, always looking over my shoulder, waiting for the other shoe to drop. But I'm not giving up. I look at the other homeless people in Austin, and a part of me feels bad for saying this, but I think that's not me. I'm working my way up to be there, but I'm trying to fight for a different path. I'm trying to get my GED. I want to get licensed for piercing and hair. I have my social security number, but I can't get a job without an address. I can't get a bank account without an ID. It's a catch-22 designed to keep you on the streets. Sometimes I'm with friends. Sometimes I'm alone. I use meth sometimes, not to get high, but to stay awake so I don't fall asleep and get hurt. It's not a life. It's just not dying. That's the goal for most days. But there are moments, fleeting moments, where I see a glimmer of hope, a smile from a stranger, a kind word from a friend, a warm cup of coffee from a volunteer. Those moments keep me going, even when everything else seems lost. If my family sees this, I want them to know I'm not mad. I love you. I'm just really, really hurt. I still text my mom. I don't know how to let go. And to that other girl, the one my age who's fighting with her parents, my message is this: just don't say anything back. Don't argue. And the moment you turn 18, get out. It's a blessing in disguise being out here. It's cleared my mind, even as it's broken my heart. But my message to everyone else is simpler. Be kind. Don't judge. You see a teenage girl at the library, and you think she's a runaway, a junkie, a problem. You don't see the pimp, the gun, the fights, or the prayers to a dead stepdad. So please, don't be a judger. Just be kind. Look beyond the surface, and you might just see a person who's fighting to stay alive. to stay human, to stay whole. As I reflect on my journey, I realize that people often assume being homeless means living on the streets, struggling to find food and shelter. But for many of us, it's not that simple. My home was a toxic environment where emotions ran high and tempers flared. My mom's bipolar disorder and my own borderline personality disorder made us a volatile mix. We clashed until we exploded, with police arriving more often than I can count. Each time they'd take me away, leaving me feeling lost and scared. But the final straw came when I relapsed after rehab, and my mom said, "You're out." I was 16, and I thought I'd hit rock bottom. But in a way, I was just escaping one prison for another. The streets, though treacherous, offered a strange sense of freedom. I was already addicted when I met him, a 25-year-old man who saw an opportunity in a 15-year-old girl strung out and alone. He promised me love, a roof over my head, and a steady supply of my favorite substances. I didn't see it as being trapped. I saw it as being cared for. But that was a lie. He controlled every aspect of my life, using manipulation and threats to keep me in line. He'd tell me he loved me, then pull out a gun to remind me of my place. He knew I was a minor, but that didn't matter to him. He saw me as an opportunity, a way to profit from my vulnerability. I thought I had a choice, but it was an illusion. When I tried to leave, I realized that my options were limited. I was trapped, and I didn't know how to escape. I managed to escape after 2 months, but freedom isn't free. Now I'm alone, constantly looking over my shoulder. I can't go to a shelter, not without risking my life. They'd report it to the police, and I know he'll find me. I'm forced to rely on temporary fixes, like the library, where I can text friends and try to find a place to sleep. It's a fragile existence, always on the move. People see the homeless and assume they're all the same, but we're not. We're individuals with stories, with struggles, and with hopes. I'm 4 feet 11, 16 years old, and I'm hiding from the world. But I'm not giving up. I'm fighting for a different life, one where I'm not controlled by addiction or fear. Surviving on the streets means finding ways to cope, to adapt. I'm trying to get my GED, to learn new skills that might help me land a job. But it's hard when you don't have an address or an ID. It's a catch-22, designed to keep you on the streets. Sometimes I'm with friends. Sometimes I'm alone. I use meth to stay awake, not to get high. It's a desperate measure, but it's better than the alternative. I'm not getting up. I'm fighting for a future, one where I can say, I'm not just surviving, I'm living. It's a glimmer of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there's always a way forward. If my family sees this, I want them to know I love them. I'm not angry, I'm just hurt. I still text my mom, not because I want to reconnect, but because I need to know she's okay. And to that other girl, the one my age who's fighting with her parents, my message is this: just don't say anything back. Don't argue. And when you turn 18, get out. It's a blessing in disguise being out here. It's cleared my mind, even as it's broken my heart. But my message to everyone else is simpler. Be kind. Don't judge. You see a teenage girl at the library, and you think she's a runaway, a junkie, a problem. You don't see the pimp, the gun, the fights, or the prayers to a dead stepdad. So please, don't be a judger. Just be friend. This is the script content for the section titled The Price of Freedom. My escape from the pimp was a miracle, but it came with a steep price. The man I'd trusted, the man who'd promised me love and protection, had become a prison warden. He'd taken away my freedom, my autonomy, and my sense of self. I was a teenager, barely 16, and I'd been sold a lie. When I finally escaped, I was on my own, with no money, no food, and no place to call home. I had to run and hide, constantly looking over my shoulder, waiting for the other shoe to drop. The police were a threat, not a safety net. I'd been forced into a life of prostitution, and I knew that if I reported my pimp, I'd be putting myself in even greater danger. I remember the feeling of being truly alone for the first time in months. It was a mix of emotions: relief, fear, and confusion. I'd never been on my own before, and the weight of responsibility was crushing. I had to find a way to survive, to make ends meet, without relying on the one person who'd made my life a living hell. I ended up at the library, a place where I could hide in plain sight. I'd lost my phone, and it was the only place I could access the outside world. I spent hours there, trying to find a way to get back on my feet. I'd send texts to friends, trying to find a place to sleep, a meal to eat. It was a daily struggle, one that I'd have to face alone. The irony was not lost on me. I'd been forced into a life of survival, and now I was fighting to reclaim my freedom. It was a never-ending cycle, one that I'd have to break on my own. I was just a kid, but I knew that I had to be strong to keep pushing forward no matter what. As I sat at the library, I couldn't help but think about the other homeless people in Austin. Some of them had been on the streets for years, others for decades. They'd lost their way, their dreams, their sense of purpose. I felt a pang of guilt, knowing that I was part of their world now. But I also knew that I had a choice. I could let the streets define me, or I could fight to be more. For me, that fight was about survival. It was about finding a way to make a living, to get an education, to build a life. It was about being more than just a statistic, more than just a homeless kid. It was about being Eva, a person with hopes and dreams, with a story to tell.